Right, final episode of Virgin Island. What did we learn? Now, before I get into it, I'm aware that all of you have watched the whole series, and for me, the reason why I've only just finished watching the whole series is because I have a busy life. Like, yeah, that's the main reason why. But now I'm here, so without further ado, let's talk about it. So, what did I get out of this? Well, for me, I liked a few things here and there. Like, for instance, I actually liked Dave. He was like really quiet at the start, but as the series was going on, he started to come out of his shell a bit more, being more confident about himself. Like, and he wasn't the only one, by the way. There were a fair few others that grew in confidence as the show got on. Like Emma, for instance, I really liked her personality. Like, she reminds me of one of those types who is not really confident in themselves but wants to grow in confidence. I like that characteristic about her. If there's one thing I found interesting, it was a group practicing certain scenarios on each other, what they've learnt from their time there. I found that really interesting, as it shows that they've taken on board what they've learnt. Like that's something I like. I like when people take things on board and carry it on without the main tutors. Like, that's one thing I liked. No, one thing I've been questioning is what happens when they go back to civilization. I mean, they already have gone back to civilization. I mean, what happens if they try the stuff with their partner from what they've learned from Virgin Island and their partner says no? Like, I don't know about that one, but for me, it's not going to be. I don't. That's one thing I've been confused about. Like, imagine if they try the same thing from Virgin Island on their partner, and their partner's just like saying, "Yeah, no, I don't want it." Like, what's the, oh, like that? That's going to be a very straight, awkward like situation. I mean, but okay, now before you guys turn this into anything I didn't say, I'm just going to be very clear on this. No means no. So if one partner wants sex but the other partner doesn't want sex, that's no sex. That's it. That's all I'm going to say for that. One thing I found rather amusing was Kat and Dave having sex with each other. Like, it wasn't filmed for obvious reasons, but the way it was shown was really interesting, because you had like the outdoor scenes being shown and everything. And one thing I liked was we saw the water like rushing towards the screen, which was basically a euphemism for Dave climaxing. That was one thing I found amusing. Like, we didn't see what was going on for obvious reasons, but we got the idea about what was going on. Another thing I liked was that the quieter members of the group putting putting themselves out there more, because that was one thing I found interesting. I always like to see people who aren't really like showy, just putting themselves out there a bit more, like, because that's how they grow in confidence. Like, that's something I always like to see in humanity, people growing in confidence within themselves. Like, I always like seeing people express themselves. There was one member of a group called Zach, and he's been receiving a lot of criticism throughout the whole show, and for me, rightly so. But I did like how he wanted to better himself, like better his understanding of himself. That's one thing I like, And I'm not going to say that we shouldn't jump to conclusions about people because we're humans. That's what we do. Jump to conclusions about people without having met them or anything. But for me, yeah, Zach went to great lengths to improve himself, and that's one thing I like about him. Even though if others may find him a walking red flag. Right, my thoughts on the show as a whole, like, is it just me or were a few of them like taken advantage of? Like, uh, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that because I don't know whether they really were taken advantage of. They felt they just had to have sex because they thought that was the point of the show. But I guess the show had like multiple points. It wasn't just about losing your virginity, but the show as a whole was like accepting yourself, like being more comfortable in your body, like feeling more comfortable about your sexuality, like that sort of thing. But would I go on that show? Probably not. Like it's not for me. I might do it for like journalistic reasons, like just to see what's going on. But I just that's not the show for me. Like I'm pretty happy in my body. So yeah, that. And I don't wish to have sex with anybody I'm not in a proper relationship with. So yeah, but let me know your thoughts on the show as a whole. What did you like? What didn't you like? And would you go on the show? If so, why? If not, why wouldn't you?